So, well, two things. One, I find it fitting that I'm wearing a um, kind of teal-ish tank top that kind of matches the color of Tron. And two, can we as critics and people who review movies online just, once in a life, once in, us going to the movies and, just going and watching something, for a couple hours out of our day, can we not just have fun with it? Like, can we just not have fun? Because I've seen critics tear this apart. Now, granted, there are some things that, it's kind of worth tearing apart just a little bit. But overall, this movie was fun. It was really, really fun. And I'm going to tell you why it was really, really fun. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Daniel Strung from QuickTime Reactions, and the movie that I am talking about is, of course, Tron Ares. And I was fortunate enough to see this in IMAX, which was really, really cool and really, really fun. Of course, this is the third movie in the Tron franchise after 1982's Tron and 2010's Tron Legacy. This movie stars Jared Leto, gretalee, jodieturnersmith, Evan Peters, Hasan Minhaj, Gilliananderson, and Jeff Bridges. Years after the events of Tron Legacy, Encom and the Dillinger Corporation are still competing to try and, make technology that will change the future. Julian Dillinger thinks he has the answer to that. The ultimate soldier, Ares, who is tasked with trying to find a code, or a line of code, I should say, that will give the programs from the grid permanence and actually be able to stay in the human world. So, will Ares be able to get this code, or will he start to disobey orders just a little bit? So, if you guys saw my video that I posted about both Tron and Tron Legacy, you guys know that, my dad is such a big fan of that original 1982 film, and I appreciate it because of, not only the really cool visuals in it, but also it's a really cool story, in my opinion. And, of course, Tron Legacy, in my opinion, is one of the first, in my opinion, it's one of the first big blockbusters I ever saw as a kid. That movie was epic on every scale. I love the performances in that movie. The action in it was really, really good. And that score from Daft Punk was legendary. And I consider it was one of the best movie soundtracks ever. But now we have new hands, not just in music, but also in the writing and the directing. Joachim Ronin was the director, and David DiGillo and Jesse Wiguto, I hope I'm saying those names correctly, they did the story. Wiguto did the screenplay for this movie. And I think they did a really good job at writing this movie. And the way that I say writing this movie is because there is a character arc in the movie that I think a lot of people, there's going to be a bit of a disconnect. And it's obviously dealing with Ares in the fact that, he's starting to care for human society and, starting to develop feelings about, people, especially Eva, who Gretalee's character in the movie, starting to develop feelings and wanting to protect these humans. Some are seeing it as a bit of a flaw in the movie, but I slightly agree with it and I slightly disagree with it, because early on in the movie, in the opening credits, they show what is ostensibly going on in Ares's mind, which is actually programming. It is a concept called machine learning. I can talk about this a little bit because I do have a degree in computer engineering. So I'll try and explain this as best as I can. And if any other computer engineers are watching this, or any really good coders, help out in the comments section below, because I might get some stuff wrong. It has been a while since I've been in college, but from what I understand, how machine learning works is you give a program basically all these variables to basically take in and basically provide a result. Once you feed it enough data over and over and over again, it starts to develop new patterns, new techniques, and gets better and better and better and better and better. That is ostensibly how machine learning works. And you see that in the opening credits with Ares, becoming, as Julian puts it, the ultimate soldier. But that can only last for, in the movie, 29 minutes. So that's the reason why they need that permanence code, is so that they can stay in the real world forever. Gillian Anderson's character, who is actually the mother to Julian, evanpeters' character, is vehemently against this. And I think this is probably the big theme of this movie, is that AI is something that, has been discussed, I would say maybe probably since the first Tron movie, back in the 80s, when, computer tech was starting to come around a little bit, and, that discussion started happening. And then as AI progressively gets better and better and better and better, we as humans, we try and find where that limit is. Of course, for a real world example, the controversy with the AI actress. Everybody vehemently against that, because I think we as humans, we need to determine what AI should do and what AI shouldn't do. Because there are some tasks that, we as humans, we can't do. And having a machine do that is something that could be very handy. So knowing where boundaries are is something that will probably persist with artificial intelligence for probably the next, 10 to 20 years. And, knowing where those boundaries are and when not to overstep them is probably going to be a key discussion topic, like I said, for the next 10 to 20 years. And I think that's the real theme of this movie, is that this program, Ares, is learning not only, how to fight and, how to hack into things, but also learning about human connection, learning about loss, learning about all of the things that make us human. And once you kind of step into that uncanny valley, that's where I think the disconnect comes in, pardon the pun, where that character's that's an artificial intelligence program, but he's having human feelings. So I should care, but in my mind, I don't care because I see it as a computer program. I think that's where the big disconnect comes in. If Ares was like an actual person, I think these complaints would be lessened. Like, I think they would still be there, but it would be lessened because he is human. But since he is an artificial program, that's kind of where the collision happens. That's where the conflict kind of happens. Not to take anything away from Leto's performance in this, I think he does a really good job in this movie. I think that's just where the disconnect comes in with many people. Speaking of the performances, gretalee is also awesome in this as well. I think the real standout, is Jodie She is menacing in this movie. The direction, Joachim Ronan, I definitely want to see him do a movie now with vehicles, because he has such a way of mounting the camera onto vehicles, onto missiles, or just like any sort of cool camera shot that has something to do with vehicles. He's going to find it. And that was something that made the movie very interesting. Of course, the visuals in this are really, really good, but it was the way he shot, specifically the vehicle stuff, was really, really cool and really, really interesting. So I had to point that out. Of course, the big item of discussion is going to be the score. It's not Daft Punk doing it. It's now Nine Inch Nails doing it. Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, who also served as executive producers on the film. I think this score is really, really good. There's a jaggedness to it, which makes sense as it is basically two worlds colliding. And it really makes it feel, along with the stellar visuals, it makes it feel like a sci-fi comic come to life. And if I'm being at all honest with myself, that is what Tron to me is supposed to be. It is supposed to be a sci-fi comic come to life. You're witnessing all this cool stuff, just leap out onto you, onto the screen, and it's so cool, you don't want to look away from it. And I think that's, the point that I said in my intro. It's like, have fun with that. Just have fun with that. Get lost with it and just have fun. Go on the ride and just have fun with it. Speaking of ride, I've not actually ridden the Tron lightcycle roller coaster at Disney World. So next time that I go there, I'm going to have to definitely try that out. But anyway, back on topic. This movie is just a boatload of fun, man. It is a boatload of fun. All the performances in this are awesome. Visuals are absolutely spectacular. Score is awesome. There is a post-credit scene, so do stick around for that. It's actually in the middle of the credits. And all I'm going to say is that Disney is hoping that this is going to do good. Because if it does, they have a sequel in mind. So go see this. It's 2 hours, and it's a fun 2 hours. It's going to fly by, and you're not even going to notice that 2 hours has passed by, because it's a really, really fun time. Go see Tron Ares this weekend in theaters. But that is my review of Tron Ares. What did you guys think of Tron Ares? Let me know down in the comments below. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me, guys. Be safe out there. And you always have to, if you're being chased by a recognizer in the sky, my suggestion is you have to always travel by alleyway. Because those big things, it's not going to fit into an alley. So just continue to find alley after alley and, just stay there, and hopefully they'll go away. That's just my advice. And I will catch you guys next time.